Katie Couric, was part of Epstein's inner circle. Let's stick to the receipts. Here's what's documented about Katie Couric and Jeffrey Epstein. In 2010, emails show Couric asked about stopping by Epstein's house on her way home, and later thanked him for dinner. Yes, even mentioning tasty lasagna. December 2, 2010, dinner at Epstein's townhouse after Epstein had served a 13-month sentence for sexual misconduct. George Stephanopoulos, Chelsea Handler, Woody Allen, we're all there. That's on record. In 2011, Couric wrote to Timothy Chalamet's good friend Peggy Siegel, "Oi, thanks for the Jeffrey Epstein invite. It's brought me a world of trouble." Since her relationship with Epstein was discovered, she has backtracked and said his home was creepy and she should have done more research. It's very curious that everyone who was in Epstein's inner circle and present at that dinner turned out to be staunch detractors of Donald Trump, even if they approved of him previously, like Oprah Winfrey. There have been posts online with people believing that Katie Couric was deeply involved, speaking in code, texting about how Couric and her daughter was tutoring 2 Harlem girls. With Katie Couric being a very busy woman and no teaching skills, why would she be tutoring anyone? Katie Couric herself has had questionable relationships with very young men. Epstein joked that he and Katie had that in common. Her husband is almost 10 years younger than Katie, and her boyfriend was almost 20 years younger than she was. Both her boyfriend and her husband were in finance and hedge funds, as was Jeffrey Epstein. There are many contradictions that have come up with this group of people, especially since the release of the Epstein files have proven what they did, and said in private, was not who they portrayed themselves to be in public. So what does this add up to? A well-known journalist moved in some of the same social circles as Epstein post-conviction, attended at least one dinner, emailed about visits, but later called it creepy and a mistake. That's the factual baseline. Katie Couric always seemed to be a neutral journalist until Donald Trump was running for president in 2016. It was at this time she started turning towards liberalism and away from conservatism. She intentionally interviewed a group of Second Amendment supporters. This is when she was caught, intentionally editing the interview to make it look like the Second Amendment supporters didn't know what to say, and just sat in awkward silence when they were asked a question, much like what the BBC did to President Trump years later. It was at this time that many people realized that Katie Couric could not be trusted as a real journalist, and that she was pushing an agenda. Her 2021 memoir, she spoke about how conservatives were basically beneath her and were wrong in their beliefs. Katie Couric is just another zealot that should be canceled.